people know about Wendy's fries or Chick-fil-A fries?
You're absolutely right. I love a good restaurant. Out here in Jersey, we have a ton of good places to eat. And I love going out and enjoying good food too. But I think some of that real foodie stuff, I don't know if it relates to every person. Kind of what I wanted to do. And like you said, I think it's a universal, right? Fast food is universal. It's something that even the biggest foodie or health addict every so often they'll go get Wendy's. They'll have a cheat day. They'll get some Kentucky Fried Chicken or whatever. And smaller income people from smaller towns or lower income areas, I mean, like that's stuff they might be eating all the time. So I think it goes, like you said, it's a universal food thing. And I think it's cool if we could figure out a way that we can kind of tie it all together for everybody. It's a great way to put it. Because there's something so comforting about it, right? Because, when you were a kid, you went out on maybe a Friday night with mom and dad. You were going to a McDonald's or you're going maybe like, dude, remember like the McDonald's or whatever, the one that had like the playground in it? That was like the best day ever, where you'd go and you'd get your Happy Meal and then you'd go play in the playground. I think there's something so comforting about a fast food place that kind of brings us a little bit back to our childhood. And that's, maybe something to that, right? And maybe by doing this too, we can make these places better. Because I think that's really where everything is going, right? Better food, better ingredients. And you see it now with the push for plant-based. I think that's kind of where this industry is going, is better quality, better ingredients, more options, because that's the world we live in now. And maybe by doing some of these things, we can get these places there a little bit faster.
Well said, Craptain.
I try. I'm not a big philanthropist, but, I do what I can.
With Dessert-a-thon, how many, you said 54 different desserts, but how many different restaurants are on the list?
It was 15 different places, 54 unique desserts, 15 places, ranked 1 to 54.
So outside of Fry Wars 2019, Dessert-a-thon, is there another project in the pipeline?
We got something in the works right now. I'm running it by a few of my people. I do have a newborn at home. She's a month of yesterday, so I got to give her a little bit of time.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. We got a little something coming down the pipeline. It'll be in line with what we've done in the past, maybe a little bit different, more, how can I do this without giving it away, but more on the pricing end of things. So we're going to look at something more value related. So that'll be something that's coming next.
I like it. So, Craptain, are you ready for our Final Four?
I am fired up for it. Let's do it.
Perfect. What food city have you been dying to go to that you haven't been to yet?
The Craptain would probably say something like, I don't know, a Podunk City somewhere in Mississippi where I could get like a Bojangles or Rallies or one of those places that we don't have up northeast, or like a Zaxby's, I heard. For me, I feel like the obvious answer would be Italy, Florence or Naples or the Amalfi Coast. We were supposed to go there for my honeymoon, and at the time they said, hey, we don't want Americans traveling to Italy, so we canceled and went to Hawaii, which was still awesome. So I always have Italy in the back of my mind, but I don't want to say that because I feel like that's a generic answer that anyone would say. I'm going to go with Maine. I'm a big lobster roll guy, and I've had some pretty good lobster rolls, but everyone says you have not lived until you've eaten a lobster roll fresh from Maine. I'm going to go with Maine. I think that's a good answer. Final answer, Maine for me.
That's a great answer.
Thank you.
I think it's funny that you secretly put in 3 different answers for that question.
Of course.
But I'll accept all 3. What's the hardest dish to pass up when you're out to dinner?
It's hard for me to pass up dessert a la mode. Anything you're going to slap, any warm dessert you're going to slap ice cream on for me I'm good. Whether it's an apple crisp or a warm chocolate cake or a paradise cookie pie, even from like a place like Chili's or something like that. That is right up my alley. Oof. That's me, man. That's my world. It's where I live.
What's the most exotic dish you've eaten?
Another very weird answer, I'm sure, but we were on a road trip years ago. I forget where we were going. I want to say maybe North Carolina. On the way down, we stopped at a gas station. I was like really hungry, and they had sushi in the gas station, like gas station sushi. And I was like, well, I'm either going to really enjoy this and rave to people about how I had gas station sushi and it was actually good, or I'm going to die. And you can tell my story that way. I'm not going to talk about that being exotic, but that's probably the most adventurous dish I ever had in my life. And to be honest, it wasn't that bad. It was maybe a little bit warmer than I would have liked, but it didn't taste like overly fishy or anything like that.
Nice. If people want to learn more about you, where can they find you?
Obviously, Instagram is our vehicle right now, at Craptain Food on Instagram, or craptainfood@gmail.com if anyone wants to email me for questions. And coming very, very soon, it's actually live, but it's under construction right now, will be our website, and that is craptainsays.com. craptainsays.com. We're going to get that up and running soon with our own rating system on there, and we're going to start logging everything we do so people have like a real guide to everything that we do and a real place they could go to check out what we say about everything.
Great. And I'll have all that information on the details of the podcast.
That'd be great.
Craptain, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me and learning more about the Fry Wars.
I appreciate you having me on. And as we always say, everything, that's what the Craptain says. And we hope to do this again real soon. And once you blow up and this podcast becomes huge and the Craptain's huge, let's remember that this is where we started on the I'd Eat That podcast. So everyone, subscribe, right? What else you need? Rate, listen, all that stuff for my man who's making it happen for all of us.
You're too kind. Big thanks to Craptain Food for joining me today. And I want to also thank you for listening to the I'd Eat That podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, please rate, subscribe, and share this podcast. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for additional content. Next week, we have Steve Mangano, CEO and creator of the phone app CureEat. He tells us why this is the food app for any foodie or chef. See you next week on the I'd Eat That podcast.